Namaskar, hello and welcome. My name is Vartika Nanda. Today I will be discussing with you about soap operas, entertainment through social awareness. In this lecture, I will be discussing number of issues and number of points that are linked to soap operas. What is a soap opera? What is the history? What are the characteristics? What are the key elements? Audience of soap operas, entertainment to social awareness. How these soap operas change the world, social media engagement, techniques of writing, soap operas in developing countries, and so on. First of all, let us start with the basic definition of a soap opera. So, a soap opera is a television or radio drama series dealing with daily events in the lives of the same group of characters. These serialized shows are known for their intricate plots and frequent cliffhangers. They focus on emotional relationships and domestic situations. The term soap opera originated from the early sponsors and producers of the serialized dramas, being soap manufacturers. A soap opera's storyline usually span several weeks or months, with each episode building on the previous one. The episodic format and long story arcs allow for complex character development. Soap operas generally feature a diverse cast of characters in ongoing relationships that evolve. While some storylines may center around a particular family, others focus on romantic relationships, business dealings, or a wide range of other topics. Soap opera is defined by melodrama, cliffhangers, complex relationships, social cause, and so on. But first of all, let us know what is the history of a soap opera. Soap opera is arguably the most unique contribution that broadcasting has made to the art of storytelling. Other serialized forms had existed before, including the novel, the comic strip, and the movies, but none allowed stories of the length and density of the soap opera to play out over generations in real time. The Guiding Light in 1952, which began on radio in 1937 and continues on television to this day, is without question the longest formal narrative in human history. The earliest radio soap operas were aired during the evening and included a range of genres for the whole family, from comedy to drama. It soon became clear to advertisers, however, that this form held great potential as a daytime genre aimed directly at women. By the 1930s, the name soap opera had stuck as a description of these programs, which carried so many commercials for household products. By the 1940s, over 70 serials were on daytime radio schedules. It was inevitable that the genre would move to television. The earliest network TV soap, Faraway Hill, started on prime time. But with the appearance of A Woman to Remember, the move was on. Hawkin Falls, which also began as an evening series, moved to daytime in 1951, where it stayed for 4 years. Search for Tomorrow was introduced that same year and it remained on the air for 35 years. Soap operas trace their origins back to the 1930s radio broadcasts, where the innovative storytelling format was initially employed to promote soap products to housewives, which led to the name soap opera. One of the earliest soap operas on television was Guiding Light, as I told you earlier, which debuted as a radio drama in 1937. But there is also a golden age, and the golden age of soap operas was generally around 1980s. This period is widely regarded as a golden age of soap operas with immensely popular shows like General Hospital, Days of Our Lives, and The Young and the Restless. American television soap opera reigning over daytime television. These captivating series captivated audience with their intricately woven plots, opulent lifestyles, and daring storylines that pushed the boundaries of societal norms. Indian soap operas or Indian serials are soap operas written, produced and filmed in India with characters played by Indians, with episodes broadcast on Indian television. And let me tell you that Indian soap operas have been very popular across the globe. But how did this journey start? It again is a very interesting story to understand. In 1984, Doordarshan began airing India's first and longest running soap, Hum Log. The serial was started at the initiative of the then Information and Broadcasting Secretary S.S. Gill. You all know that Doordarshan is a public service broadcaster, and Doordarshan started airing Hum Log. In 1983, an Indian team had actually which was led by Gill, had visited Mexico to study the pro-development soaps of Miguel Sabido. These soaps were different from the regular commercial soaps aired on American television in the sense that they combined entertainment with specific messages to promote some aspect of development. And thus, when I am talking to you about soap operas, please keep in mind that they also have a very important role to play as far as social awareness is concerned. So, on his return, Gill commissioned a private producer, Shobha Doctor, to create a series that would combine a storyline with progressive messages on family planning, the status of women, education, illiteracy, and so on. And Hum Log was born. Just imagine Hum Log, which created history, and how it actually began its journey in India on Doordarshan. In May 1983, Sabido visited India to present a 5-day workshop on his model at Akashvani Bhavan, New Delhi, causing a mini storm when he suggested that television soap operas needed to be broadcast 5 times a week, which is not so unconventional now, to achieve desired effects. Sabido met with the then Prime Minister to convince her of the merits of his approach. She was enthusiastic in her response, and eventually, along with the help of acclaimed writer Manohar Shyam Joshi, the story arc, characters and basic premise of Hum Log was created. But Indian officials asserted that there was only enough resources to broadcast a show like that once a week, which is what was eventually followed. Hum Log began its journey and it concluded with 154 episodes. It was the first serial drama series in Hindi. It began its telecast on Doordarshan, India's national network, on 7th July 1984, then the only television channel in India. What was the story of Hum Log and how is it related to social awareness? This is something which all of us must know, especially those who are dealing with journalism. So, the story of Hum Log was the story of an Indian middle class family of the 1980s and their daily struggles and aspirations. It was the longest running serial in the history of Indian television at the time it ended. It had an audience of 60 million. Every episode was about 25 minutes long and the last episode was about 55 minutes. At the end of every episode, veteran Hindi film actor Ashok Kumar would discuss the ongoing story and situations with the audience using Hindi couplets and limericks. In later episodes, He would introduce the actors who played characters in the serial and end his monologue with the Indian language versions of the words Hum Log. So, written by Manohar Shyam Joshi and directed by Vasudev Kumar, the soap opera revolved around the lives of a middle class Indian family, and perhaps this central theme is what allowed the show to gain its mass traction. The protagonists included Basesaram, who was married to Bhagwanti, and then they parented Badki, Chutki, Lallu, Majli and Nanhe. It had all the makings of a typical Indian family, and explains why so many people would drop their daily routines and sit in front of their TV sets as the show aired. Circumstances of confusion surrounding education, finances, relationships and more were regularly explored. In 1984, the idea of nuclear families was just starting to come about, but the existence of joint families and their complexities was very much relatable. Even the critics believe that a show like Hum Log cannot be replicated today. Here I am sharing a quotation which I found recently. The quotation says, "The show was about middle class idealism. Now the lower middle class is so aspirational in a materialistic way. People no longer want to watch shows about the struggles of the poor." The show for tackled issues like the flux between modern and traditional values, the colonial hangover of wanting an administrative job, and the role learning that the education system perpetuated. But the show was perhaps most successful in demonstrating patriarchy and the anxiety around masculinity, right from the grandfather, who was a stoic military man, to the father, who was a frustrated alcoholic, to the sons, one of whom was a good-for-nothing loafer, and one who dreamed of becoming a famous cricketer. Hum Log challenged societal pressures at a time when it was considered unacceptable to even discuss them at dinner tables. It showed a Hindu girl in love with a Muslim man and expressed the wishes of an individual to marry a woman from a lower caste. In a way, it is perhaps one of the only tools at the time that could remotely normalize these non-controversial aspects of society. It can also be said that Hum Log is still relevant. Middle class families that aspire to be upper class, with their complex personalities, make up a large chunk of Indian population. The social issues the show touched upon are rampant even today. We may have made some progress, but the first Indian TV show quite interestingly mirrors the society of 2021 too. Beyond the fact that Hum Log was the first show of its kind, the fact that it was produced at a time when India was on the brink of many social, technological and economic changes greatly influenced its perception and resonance. The makeup of urban family life was swiftly changing, and the big, happy yet complex family portrayed on screen was enjoyable for people to watch. Joint families were breaking up at the time, but there was little sanctity in the concept. This was around the same time that the signs of privatization were appearing. You remember that was the time when there was a transition in broadcasting. So the show also coincided with the beginnings of the color TV in India, as the first episodes were shot in black and white until color TV officially made its entry in India. Hum Log became not only the first soap opera, but one of the first few color TV shows. The first few episodes in the best traditions of Indian television were very preachy. There was a demand to take the serial off the air, but Gill conducted a review and changes were made, emphasizing the story. And soon Hum Log was climbing the charts. The success of the serial indicated the existence of a huge market for well-made programs, and the government's decision to go commercial laid to the foundations for a new software industry. What happened between 1984 to 2000? So, during this period, several iconic soap operas gained immense popularity. Crime dramas also started being produced and aired. CID follows a team of detectives belonging to the Crime Investigation Department in Mumbai. CID became the longest running crime TV serials in India, having a run of 20 years. Between Hum Log and Kyunki Saas Bhi Kabhi Bahu Thi, there were several other notable Indian soap operas that aired. Some of these are Mahabharata. This is the period between 1980s to 1990s. This epic show of B.R. Chopra was very popular among the audience. Brilliant casting, brilliant writing, music and direction. War sequences were incredible. The show was ahead of its time. Chanakya it was probably the most well-researched Indian historical television series to date. Brilliantly written, directed and acted by Dr. Chandraprakash Dwivedi. Byomkesh Bakshi 1993 to 1997, most popular detective series of the 90s. Then Mirza Ghalib 1988. It was an Indian historical short TV series written and produced by Gulzar Sahib. Mirza Ghalib's role was brilliantly portrayed by Nasiruddin Shah. Bharat Ek Khoj 1988. This was the journey of India in 53 episodes. The show was based on the first Prime Minister of India's book, Discovery of India. Then Ramayana 1987 to 1988. Ramanand Sagar's Ramayana is the pure gold of Indian television. Based on the Sanskrit epic of the same name, this show was created and broke many records. A critically acclaimed series set against the backdrop of the partition of India, this is Bunyad, 1986 to 1987. All these shows were actually instrumental in shaping the landscape of Indian television during that era, paving the way for the mega success of Kyunki Saas Bhi Kabhi Bahu Thi and other similar serials later on. Indian serials are made in almost all the major languages in India, though many also contain a mix of the predominant language and English. Indian dramas are also broadcast in other parts of South Asia, the Caribbean, Southeast Central Asia, Western Europe, Southeastern Europe, the Middle East, North American, Latin America, North Africa, South Africa, and so on. Common languages serials are in Hindi, Marathi, Gujarati, Bengali, Tamil, Kannada, Oriya, Telugu, and Malayalam. Indian soap operas are also broadcast in South Asia, Southeast Asia, Central Asia, Middle East, and African countries. Now, let's talk about another soap opera which became very popular and is even now talked about. Kyunki Saas Bhi Kabhi Bahu Thi. Year 2000 to 2008 became the first Indian television drama to cross 1000 episodes in the history of Indian television and thus entering the Limca Book of Records. Char Divas Sa Soche, Marathi serial 2001 was the first Indian series to cross 2000 and 3000 episodes and also entering Limca Book of Records, which concluded with 3200 episodes. Ye Rishta Kya Kehlata Hai is the longest running Hindi serial in the history of Indian television with 2400 episodes and Balika Vadhu became the second longest Hindi serial with over 2200 episodes. So, Kyunki Saas Bhi Kabhi Bahu Thi became popular in the early 2000s. It started airing from 3rd July 2000 and ended on 6 November 2008 on Star Plus. The show was co-produced by Shobha Kapoor and Ekta Kapoor under their banner of Balaji Telefilms. It became the first Indian television drama to cross 1000 episodes and completed its run with 1833 episodes, which is over 1800 episodes. These episodes, these podcasts, these soap operas are very popular. But how do they impact us? Negatively and both positively. Sometimes soap operas are unethical in nature. Sometimes they do not reflect our value system, and there are occasions when they cross the limit as far as the language is concerned. These could be negative aspects, but they have several positive aspects also, which I will be sharing with you in the coming slides. But before that, let us also have a look at the characteristics of a soap opera. So, as we research deeper into the captivating world of soap operas, it is pivotal to understand the distinct attributes that define this genre. These characteristics not only distinguish soap operas from other television genres, but also contribute to their enduring popularity. In the following section, we will explore these defining characteristics that make soap operas a uniquely engaging form of serialized storytelling. One is that there is a melodrama. The conflicts that unfold in these shows are often exaggerated, with emotions running high and tensions reaching their peak. It is that this melodrama, exaggeration and intensity that contributes to the overall drama and appeal to the storylines, captivating viewers and keeping them hooked episode after episode. Then there are cliffhangers. Soap operas love this. This makes the addictive storylines and dramatic twists, and these are notorious for the suspenseful cliffhangers. As each episode nears its end, viewers are left on the edge of their seats, captivated by a carefully crafted moment of intrigue or surprise. These captivating cliffhangers are meticulously designed to leave audiences eagerly participating the next thrilling installment as they anxiously ponder the fates of their beloved characters and the unfolding plot. Then there are complex relationships. Relationships play a pivotal role in the captivating world of soap operas. These beloved dramas are known for exploring a mix of themes, including passionate love stories, heart-wrenching betrayals, gripping family conflicts. With their intricate plot lines and deeply intertwined characters, soap operas continue to enthrall audiences around the globe. There is a social cause. Soap operas has the power to influence conceptions of identity. Please remember, what we see for entertainment sometimes educate us and sometimes also create social awareness, like Hum Log did, like many other soap operas have done. Stories reshape social values and create genuine long-term behavior responses. They are a powerful medium for social change. Betty Friedan has written in Feminine Mystique that these kind of soap operas have worked around the working conditions, family life and sexuality. Some soap operas have also dealt with issues of HIV victims and issues which are related to some serious diseases or something which are related to mental illness. Soap operas also deal with emotions. The great spectacle of emotions is how Jose Ignacio, a famous and belated Venezuelan author, defined soap operas. This is perhaps the best way of introducing a healthy description which is also questioned by all the world's intellectuals regarding what this genre is and will be to the great public. So, in this section, I have discussed with you some of the basic characteristics of soap operas, the beginning of a soap opera, its its beginning in India, हम लोग क्योंकि सास भी कभी बहू थी, and the reason for their popularity. In the coming slides, in the next portion, I will be discussing with you why these soap operas are important in our social domain.